people of the internet, what is going on? Welcome to the first official Osiris League cast of the day. This is the round of 8. We have 4 matches happening today, and on this cast, we're going to cast BBTH against HKL, the Hong Kong Legends. These two teams have come through a heap of trouble. They went through 2 very strong teams to get here. BBTH had to go up against one of the underdogs that made it all the way to the top 16 last week, 166 exclamation mark, and HKL went through 1008 or now 1 PS8 from Kingdom. Well, they used to be 1 NB8 last season. Now they've migrated out. They're doing their thing. And these two alliances, insanely big alliances, almost 2.9 billion power for Hong Kong Legends from Kingdom 30. And they're going up against BBTH, the folks from Kingdom, I believe they're still in 157. 2.9 billion power too. Their power difference is about like 2 million difference. So they're as close as they can be. This is probably going to be one of those very, very close matches where we have one team that we already know fairly well. BBTH have been on the, I believe, on casts at least once before last season. They had a very good run. HKL, more of these unknown, kind of quiet to themselves, Hong Kong Legends team that they're not quiet at all. My goodness, they went through and plowed to the playoffs. One of the strongest candidates to get through all the way to the end. One of the teams that folks have been favoring quite a bit as of late. And yeah, this match is going to be a very exciting one. If we go take a quick peek at our bets and just ignore my own personal bet right here. BBTH against HKL. We're looking at an HKL landslide in the gambling department. Almost 3-for-1 return with HKL up in the victory department, but quite frankly, this match might not be as close as everybody thinks it is. BBTH showing they got what it takes to make it to the top 8, but can they secure an Osiris Invitational ticket? That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Every single team who wins in a match today guarantees their spot into the Osiris Invitational coming up right after these seasons. For those of you who don't know what the Osiris Invitational is, it is a tournament where the top 4 of each of the realms get to go up against each other to see which one is the better one. With me casting this match today will be none other than Chiskel Gaming, who is going to be the caster. I'll be co-casting with him and we'll momentarily hear from him as well. But for now, in the last few moments, in the chat, I want to see what are your predictions. Leave us a comment right now and tell us hashtag HKL or hashtag BBTH with your predictions. If you enjoy the cast, of course, make sure you're dropping likes on the cast and come say hi to myself or Chiskel Gaming or both of us in our channels linked in the description down below. With that being said, we are a moment away, a minute to be exact, away from the match beginning. To remind you, this is going to be the only match during this time, and in the next time slot, I believe Dragothian Gaming and Chiskel Gaming will be casting the OV against C9N match, a match you guys voted you wanted casted. As we mentioned to you in the previous cast last week, a poll went up in the Rise of Kingdoms official YouTube channel, and you guys got to choose which match will be casted. So expect that in the next segment of Osiris League casts later today. I will be playing with my team at JWM2, and there's going to be 2 more matches on top of that happening. So make sure you guys are in on the cast as well as in the games in your phone or device or tablet, whatever you guys got, to guarantee you get all the action available. It's 15 seconds away from the match. We'll just make sure we can get in, and then we'll hand the reins over to Chiskel. Let's go take a peek at the chat, see what you guys got as a success. Hello everybody. Hi, I see all of you saying hi in the chat. I see a lot of HKLs. I see, wow, a lot of HKLs, K30s. No, you guys are invading the chat. Very, very nice. With that being said, let's go see if we can get into the match. And as soon as we can, we will make sure to hand it over to my friend Chiskel to start this cast any moment now. And with that being said, let's go get into the match and see what Chiskel has to tell us.
What is going on, Governors? Chisco here, and we are going to be watching Ark of Osiris League. This is the round of 8, and you know we love to cast Ark of Osiris, especially at the top end. We're going to be hunting for crazy new strategies, breakout commanders that lead rallies or defend garrisons. And for those of you joining us for the very first time, let's just talk very briefly about how Ark of Osiris is played. This is a game mode that involves both territory and an objective. That objective is neutral. It's placed in the center, but if you can grab it and bring it back to one of your own structures that you own, your own territory, then you can score big points, and those points escalate the more times that that center object called the Ark of Osiris has been captured. But don't sleep on the territory game. Territory is worth a huge amount of points, and if you were to hold the 4 most point generating structures, you wouldn't even need to get the Ark because you'd be getting so many points. Now, of course, there is one other thing we probably should talk about that I know Gecko Gaming loves, which is provisioning. There are caravans on the map where you can send out those gathering commanders. That's right, even your gathering commanders have a use in Ark of Osiris. And if you go and you gather, you can pick up a lot of points. A single player gathering just all match long could potentially pull down between 3,000 to 5,000 points, which is crazy. So Gecko, I'm really eager to hear your thoughts on what is going to make or break this matchup. Is it going to be arcs? Is it going to be territory? Is it going to be provisioning?
Hi, Chisco. First of all, thank you very much. That was very, very crazy. You really went over all of Arc basics in less than a minute. That was super impressive. Honestly, I have no clue. In these matches, any one of these can be a determining factor, right? We need to see how this match is going to begin. I believe that we're going to see a lot of early gameplay on the buildings and territory gameplay. We'll see a little bit of Ark of Osiris fights very early on, but as you know, that first arc is very, very important, and that'll kind of set the pace for the rest of the match. I feel like provisioning at this stage is something everybody does a little bit of. Some do better, some do worse, and that sometimes is the final factor at the end.
Indeed it is, and the gates have opened. Folks are now pouring into the battlefield using their fast marches to get to those structures as quickly as they can to start accumulating points. Interestingly, our friends at BBTH have only 29 players registered on the board currently. Hopefully they'll have one of their substitutes step in. You bring a roster of 45 players and you've got 15 subs. So of those 15 subs, I'd hope one jumps in real soon. In the meantime, we see speedy marches making their way to the different structures, including at the start, the obelisks. Now, the obelisks are absolutely crucial because they give you teleports. You get 5 right away for capturing them, and I believe 1 every 5 minutes when you hold them. So that will be very, very critical in getting a quick start in this game because so much of it is about managing where you are on the battlefield. And when you can teleport closer to where the combat is, and you can teleport in a big circle around the obelisk, you can get so much closer to the action. I still see 29 registered on the board for BBTH. Hopefully they get their last player into this matchup real fast. And you know, Gecko, I'm sure you've noticed this trend as well. But in Season 1 of Ark of Osiris League, there was a lot of battling at the Temple of Osiris, which is where the Ark of Osiris will spawn, before it was even there. 7 minutes before it was even spawned in, people were fighting over it. I feel like this season the trend has been to ignore the center of the map entirely and only make your way toward the Temple of Osiris minutes before it's going to spawn and to fight big then.
Oh, I definitely agree that the timings of Arc have been a little bit different this season, but keep in mind for playoffs, both these teams have the Osiris skills available, and that really changed the phase of the game because starting early on back in the day, if you managed to clear that middle out, the likelihood of there being someone else showing up early on was going to be very, very small, so folks tried to get that early advantage. But now with all these different skills that allow you to move quicker, get more defense, get more attack, folks are being more conservative of how they utilize their marches in the center, as most skills really are triggered there. One point to add is that for now, BBTH finally get their 30th player, but they are missing one outpost, which means the red team and HKL have a slight lead. And one other small micro optimization we saw on screen was an HKL individual hopping from a caravan all the way to their obelisk. The reason they did that was for hasty departure. As soon as they got into that little caravan and came right out towards the obelisk, that gave them some extra march speed. However, that guy did go past an outpost without taking it. I feel like picking the outpost first, going for the caravan next, and then to the obelisk would have probably been a better play.
Yes, indeed. I've just watched a huge amount of BBTH walk right past the outpost that they had not taken. They've now grabbed that in their favor, and they are really prioritizing making their way over to their desert altar, which makes sense. That desert altar and also the sky altar are worth huge amounts of points, so they're prioritizing getting their marches over there as fast as they possibly can. And Gecko, I liked your insight about the alliance skills really changing the dynamic. There is so much more you can do now that you could not do before. And I do see, what is this? It looks like either a single march or a rally way in the back line. It's a rally. I do see Hong Kong Legends rallying a BBTH outpost, the outpost of Iset, way in the back. I mean, interesting play going straight to their back line with that rally, and I bet they're going to get that structure. Little bits of disruption will ultimately go a long way, and we should probably take a moment to talk about how that works here. If you step into a structure, you need to hold it for 3 full minutes before you actually start to accumulate points. So it can be extremely disruptive to even just steal it from the enemy for a second, disrupt their point gain, and then boom, they need to wait another 3 minutes before they can get points again.
So someone with a Constantine managed to sneak in right the second before that rally hit. However, it looks like BBTH had the same kind of idea. They did take an outpost away from HKL very, very early on. But quite frankly, at this stage, this is not the time for that. At this point, we have 1 second until the rest of the buildings open up. This is when teams need to be securing their altars, securing their shrines of war, shrines of life, and all that good stuff. Look at HKL taking a forward position, but sleeping on their Shrine of War. That could cost them dearly if they don't pick that up really quickly, as they did take a Sky Altar away from BBTH, but without the extra buffs from that Shrine of War, this is gonna go down real quick. They finally picked that up, and this is exactly what you mentioned, disrupting point gaining from your opposition. I don't think HKL will manage to hold on to the Sky Altar for too long, but the longer they do, 30 seconds already, that is points that BBTH are not making, and that is such an important part of playing this game. It's not only about making points, but it's also about stopping your enemies from making points. And at 150 points per minute, this is 150 points HKL took away from BBTH, and they got plenty of open field presence here to make that even more expensive. I don't think they'll hold on for 3 full minutes, but every single second counts.
I don't know. Every second does count because we're ticking down toward the first occupation bonus, which is a full 700 points for the Sky Altar. In fact, 750. It's so many points. It's kind of remarkable that they were able to get almost a full rally worth of troops into that Sky Altar. Hong Kong Legends very coordinated at the start of the matchup, and I will point out that the start of this match should be like a choreography, very well rehearsed, very well organized, and known down to the march who is going where and doing what, so that you get a very solid start and avoid what is happening right now with only 1 minute and 20 seconds left before Hong Kong Legends gets the first capture points. I think you're right that BBTH is going to snag that back. But man, this is a lot closer than it should be.
Oh, and it's a huge mistake by HKL with HK with 2 marches on the open field, not refilling the building instead of fighting in the open field. He could have held for a little bit longer. At this stage, even if he tries to refill indeed, which I'm assuming he had 1 march in there, it would be a bit too late. Let's talk about refilling buildings for a moment, because this is a topic that we need to hammer down a little bit better for the folks playing Ark of Osiris. When a building is losing its health, it means that as long as there are multiple marches in there, they're all sharing the burden of the damage being taken. However, when the building starts going down and you get to a point where everybody has 20,000 marches, the moment you get in there with a full march, you're pretty much taking the blunt force damage to yourself. I mean, the 20,000 folks cannot share the burden that a 300k march can. So to refill a building, you should not be waiting for it to go red and only then refill. My recommendation is whenever you start seeing it making it halfway through the yellow, that's when you start refilling the building to ensure that even though you might be the only one refilling, your alliance mates can still share a little bit more of the burden with you. Those small timing optimizations could have been everything for HKL to even maybe take first occupation on that Sky Altar. That was fairly close.
It was really close, and what we're seeing now across the board is actually a pretty even matchup from a territory perspective. All of the structures that should belong to blue do. All of the ones that should belong to red do. And so now we've got 3 minutes and 50 seconds, only a small amount of time left to take one of these structures off to the side before teams probably ought to be putting their attention into the middle of the map. Now, I do want to call attention to something that we were talking about earlier, which is the use of the Alliance skill Divine Aid. Both sides used it, granting them each 5 teleports, which is really solid. Having your troops closer to the action, as you were describing earlier, Gecko, being closer to the Temple of Osiris, makes a really big deal. And before, you used to have to dedicate those spots for people who are teleporting to be the people who were defending your structures. But now, you could have a full 5 people easily, or more potentially, dedicated to the middle that have teleported up. And now we see folks in blue from BBTH starting to go to the middle, folks in red from Hong Kong Legends starting to go to the middle, and they are sort of mirroring each other's plays on that front.
Yes, sir, but the problem is every single blue building is blinking. The masses around the Shrine of War are huge. BBTH cannot lose this building, however, it is about to go down. If it goes down, that's 5% defense and attack boosts in favor of HKL. They're now at 10% of both of them, while BBTH are at 0. This is a very common play as of lately. Before the middle, you want to get that extra buff. One more thing to point out is that both teams did indeed use Divine Aid, but BBTH did not use any of their teleports up until 2 seconds ago, where 2 of them were used. So using that alliance skill is important. However, you really want to make sure you have people available to teleport. To make matters worse, HKL take an obelisk away from BBTH, and all of a sudden this bottom side turns red. Points per minute are still in the favor of red by about 40 points, and they do have a very slight lead. But with all this building pressure, quite frankly, blue team has a choice to make. Do they go for the middle and capture that arc but lose heavily on the points per minute game for the next few moments? Or do they give up on their buildings and go for the middle? It's a double-edged sword. There is absolutely no way to get out of this without severe damage.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing signals of some serious coordination issues. The outpost at the start, the unused teleports. I mean, you know that skill is going to be used and exactly when and why. So people should have already teleported in to take advantage of that. Structures going down. I'm concerned for BBTH, but at the same time, hopeful that they will get into a groove here, especially as the Ark of Osiris spawns in. And I'll just call attention to the fact that this is not a game that, okay, you win by 1 point and then you're the winner of the matchup. But getting the first arc does not mean you win the matchup, not by any stretch of the imagination. So regardless of what happens at the temple now, this could still be an extremely contentious match. And folks are now battling in the center, casting war drums to get an 80% additional attack. A really strong alliance skill that does seem to be one of the more popular ones because it's so easy to use. Huge area, bunch of attack, easy to understand why you'd want to do that. It does look like red has a strong presence in the center. They've also got that Shrine of War, which is giving, as you mentioned, 10% of stats, although that is getting swarmed down. And in a worst case, it's distracting BBTH from getting to the center, which is working very heavily in the favor of HKL.
Yeah, we saw OV, the current Season 1 champions. We see their name on this huge building right here. Kind of make these same kind of plays. They'll go distract you with the Shrine of War, and while you take that back, they'll swarm the middle. I feel like BBTH had a little bit of a misplay when it came to this alliance skill. They went for the alliance skill because they were heavily they did not have anything in the middle. They had what looked like a 3-to-1 when it comes to army ratios in the middle. And so they wanted to try to even up the field a little bit, but truthfully, I'm seeing all these frowny faces going back to Blue's side, and a skill that might have potentially been used a bit prematurely. One of the things about these skills that you should know is that, as you mentioned, Chiskel, it has an area of effect. So if you are a coordinated alliance, a coordinated team, you want to make sure everybody is within that range and then proc it. So in this case, they did have everybody in the range, but there was just not enough people in here. And Red cleared them out. Just like we said, they took the buildings, they distracted the plays. Folks in Blue had to spend a lot of time, effort, and marches to get their obelisk, their Shrine of War back. And in return, the folks in Red are now marching the Ark. Granted, they are not taking it for free. There's a lot of fighting happening here still. But unless BBTH pour in very, very quickly, this is not looking very good for BBTH right now. And HKL might have this first Ark.
Yes, indeed. The advantage of moving the Ark down the field toward your side of the battlefield is, again, that time management aspect of this game mode. Now, BBTH has to walk further, and Hong Kong Legends has to walk less. And, okay, it's not all that far when you look at it on the map, except when you think about the differential. It's actually pretty significant. I mean, it's like the whole Ark Canyon worth of distance that, one team is moving extra and the other team is moving less. It's a big deal, and Hong Kong Legends grabbing the Ark yet again, making their way off with it, and they do have a cavalry commander leading that commander taken down, and now the battle continuing in that part of the field. It's going to be very, very hard for BBTH to come in and win this combat over this Ark. I feel like the best thing they can do is stall for a while before overwhelming numbers kind of arrive for Hong Kong Legends, which means they've got to be thinking about their structure game. And I do find it remarkable that it seems like BBTH is not at all on offense, and Hong Kong Legends is just 100% on offense.
Yes, sir. It looks like they have their hands on the driver's wheel. I love my wheel, and I talk about that quite a bit. One of the things that happened while you were describing the situation was an alliance skill by HKL that was dropped right in front of the feet of the BBTH marches coming into the center. That skill slowed them down drastically, and it allowed HKL to continue moving while the marches coming to try to stop this Ark slowed down for quite a little bit. There is a Khan march trying to sneak forward and take the outpost away from HKL. If this outpost is not protected, which it isn't, it's going to go blue. And now moving the Ark closer to it might not be that good of an idea, because if any blue member manages to pick this Ark from a very, very wounded red, oh my goodness, from a very wounded red march, oh boy, if that Ark falls down, he doesn't notice it's a blue. If a blue march picks it up right now and goes into the outpost, this is a blue Ark. This could be a steal. Listen.
This could be an amazing steal. This tactic is phenomenal. I honestly think that bringing the Ark to an outpost is kind of a last season move. Oh my gosh. Did he just capture it? Blue has it. Oh, but they took the structure back.
He did not. They took the structure back. The Saladin that was there went for the fight instead of picking up the Ark. He is not Dragothian. Shout out to Dragothian in the chat as well. He's not Dragothian trying to make that sneaky play. We saw Dragothian in a previous match try to do something similar. This time they actually had everything they needed. One person in the building, one person outside, but the person outside just wasn't focused enough on the play. There's still plenty of time to make it. If blue team takes the outpost, which they did, any blue member picking up the Ark can stick it right back into the outpost. This is going to go either way. Red team has the Ark, but they don't have the building. Okay, wait, maybe they have. Oh my goodness, Chiskel, I can't breathe. Go.
Red team has escorted the Ark to the specified destination. Hong Kong Legends putting points on the board for capturing that Ark. That easily could have gone either way. It's so chaotic. It's so hard to see what's happening. That was really exciting.
Oh my goodness.
And it goes to show you that this is a complex game mode. There is a lot going on here. I do think, Gecko, I do really think that at this level of play, it's a pretty major mistake to take a flag or to take the Ark of Osiris to an outpost. I just don't think that's the right structure. The reason is that you just can't have enough people defending it. You can't even have two full marches in that structure, and so it's very hard to coordinate who's getting in, who's getting out, so that the Ark carrier actually has room to score the darn thing. I think taking it to an altar, taking it to a shrine is a much safer choice. Man, and the reason for that is in part because when you're talking about one of those structures that's got a million or more troops of capacity, it's very hard for a couple marches to come along, swarm it down, and get control. But it only took like 3 marches from blue to take it from red, even though there were dozens of those red marches nearby. Whew. All right, Gecko.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. And we're looking at a situation right now that's really, really interesting. HKL took away the Shrine of War from BBTH, and BBTH retook it back once more, which was really, really interesting because instead of having to go to the center and trying to get further into that fight, what ended up happening is they had to go get their Shrine of War back. The Shrine of War, as far as I'm concerned, and you might disagree with me on this one, is the most important building on the map, even more than the points-making buildings. The reason for that, those buffs. Those buffs are super important for you to be able to take every other building, for you to be able to take the Ark. Without the Shrine of War being very well secured, your team is going to be in a world of trouble if it gets taken away. It diverges so many marches to go back to get it. It gives the other side a very small window of extra buffs. It's just one of those buildings that in this season, we are going to have to hammer down more and more the importance of it, even more than the altars, who are point-making buildings. One more thing to point out is that indeed the red team is leading not by 3, but about 3,000 points now, give or take. 20 points per minute more for them. So BBTH are very much in this match. 38 minutes remaining. This is nowhere near close to being over or any indication of who's doing better or worse right now. Although HKL do seem to still be leading the charge while BBTH are reacting, but they're reacting fairly well.
Weirdly, running charge just used, increasing march speed. I wonder where folks are going. I do see a rally in on the BBTH outpost, although that is getting swarmed down pretty heavily at this point. And to your point earlier about the Shrine of War offering a huge amount of stats, I will call attention to the fact that that building is offering 10% of stats total, but that's a 20% swing from one side having 10% of extra stats to the other side having 10% of extra stats, which means these buildings represent a 40% swing in effectiveness on the battlefield. It's a pretty big deal.
It definitely is. And to make matters worse, once you take that building, it instantly applies the buffs. You don't need to wait 3 minutes. Those buffs are instant. So even if you're not going to hold on to the building, if you only have 1 or 2 marches nearby to just take the building away, those little bit of moments, if that's timed correctly, can be so devastating. They can stop a rally that's almost taking an altar away from you from taking it. It can stop a middle push. It can stop everything. And 10% stats. I don't know how many of you have tested this before, but let me tell you this. 5% attack and 5% defense is very influential. It is very, very influential and very visible too.
Uh-oh, Gecko. I'm looking at an oopsies. I'm looking at a whoopsie daisies.
What happened?
I see a rally here. I got Attila and Takeda in the rally, and a bunch of infantry in there. Oh no!
Oy,
oh no! It's marching so slow to the Shrine of War. Oh, whoever did that is kicking themselves. And we've had it happen. I've played, and you know, in our alliance, that's happened. So you know, it happens to the best of us. You know, maybe that person normally leads rallies with infantry or cavalry, and they switched it up. Oh, jeez.
All right. I
mean, do you just cancel the rally at that point?
Honestly, you should have canceled the rally a long time ago. All this march time, just the thought of, if that Attila Takeda has infantries, if it's not someone who accidentally put infantries in, you know how long that guy's going to take to go back home? I mean, if he loses the march right here, cool, that's even better. He's going to want to suicide this in. But the moment you saw that in the rally, that's an insta-cancel. Even if it ruins your timings. I mean, look at what's going on in here. We've never seen Attila Takeda go down this quick. And that's because of that.
And they've even got a counter rally, but somebody just joined the counter rally with archers. Oh my gosh. What's happening in my life right now? What's happening in my life?
Well, Chat, close your eyes. Close your eyes. It's not happening.
They're going to defend the Shrine of War. Yes, this isn't happening. This isn't happening. Swift being cast. Folks trying to get moving on the battlefield, and in 2 minutes and 40 seconds, the Temple of Osiris is going to spawn the Ark. Folks are moving incredibly fast to get there now, because let me tell you, if you're not moving by the 3-minute mark toward the Temple of Osiris, you are not going to get there by the time that spawns in. Hong Kong Legends is dominating that space, bullying out the folks in BBTH, which is exactly what they need to do. And now is the time where they can push up and push out to get BBTH so far away that they have a huge position advantage. And this is the problem with ignoring the center of the map until it's too late. Because if the folks in red pick up the Ark and they can start to carry that down the field with a whole wave of people in red up front to defend themselves, the folks in blue are going to have to walk past all those marches, and they just get beat down for free. They can't attack back. They just got to run to chase the carrier. They're going to be completely wrecked and lose the combat if they find themselves in that situation. And that is exactly what Hong Kong Legends is about to create. With only 1 minute, 40 seconds left, Blue has got to get moving or they will be in trouble.
The problem for blue is that, look at the buildings blinking. Obelisk, blue obelisk, building is blinking once more. That rally, Attila Takeda just hit and it's doing damage. It might take that obelisk away. Desert altar, supposed to stay blue. Use the skill to defend it. Guess what? That building is slowly going down. And listen, there's more red presence right here than blue. Shrine of Life, supposed to be blue. Still blue for now, but hey, it's blinking and that Attila Takeda is nasty. Here's the problem. The problem is that it's not only a matter of timing the arc. You have to understand that you need to be able to be in control of the timing and the pace of the game. Because HKL are in charge of the pace of the game, they choose when they attack. They are not getting attacked back. Their Desert Altar or Sky Altar have not been rallied once in 27 minutes. Their Shrine of Life has not been attacked once. HKL has done all the damage. BBTH have not sent a single rally out to do any sort of damage to disturb HKL's play. So of course they can do what you're saying of sending marches out and blocking BBTH out. They don't need these marches anywhere else. They own 3 altars. They own an outpost. Both obelisks that are blue are blinking. Half of the buildings that are blue are blinking. Like, no, there's nothing in control here for BBTH. They're slowly starting to slip out, and if they don't get themselves together and start attacking, as you know, the best defense is a good offense, they're going to be in a world of trouble.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen in my entire time since the release of Ark of Osiris, I have never seen a more defensive gameplay than what BBTH is doing. And unfortunately for them, that's not working. What it's doing is allowing the folks in red and Hong Kong Legends to go fully offensive with those marches. They're probably sitting back there saying, we don't have to defend this with a full, 1 million or 1.5 million troops. Like, just go up front, just go wage war, right? And that is a huge problem, and it's why, to Gecko, your point, you've got to have some rallies going to keep folks honest. However, flag's been grabbed by red, Hong Kong Legends on the move, and it's such a mess. It's hard to even see where that thing is, but it's almost out of the Ark of Osiris canyon at this point. That thing is going and down. Ricky lost control. So now they're going to get some battling going on over that Ark. I don't know who's going to grab it, but if folks in blue don't make a grab fast, they're going to lose the opportunity as that thing starts to make its way out of the canyon. Hong Kong Legends spring, capturing the Ark, or at least picking it up to start moving it down the field, and lost control, which brings us to an interesting point. Let's get a peek real quick at what some of the best players in the game here think are the right commanders to bring to the center of the map. We see some Ethelfled, we see Khan, we see Saladin, we see even a Ramses up in the mix there. So a blend, Gecko, of infantry, cavalry, archers, the whole 9 yards. What I'll say makes a huge difference is area of effect damage, because you actually get to hit everybody with that AoE damage, baby. You get to hit everybody with that damage. I don't know, Gecko, what do you think is an optimal troop type to bring to the middle?
So to an extent in Ark of Osiris, it's a little bit of a problematic situation. Your biggest enemy is not the team you're facing, it's time. So when it comes to what types of troops you want to bring to the center, as much as infantry are tanky and nice and can do huge amounts of damage, especially against cavalry, they're super slow. So to get to the middle, you'd have to actually march very, very early on, which means you're spending a lot of time making your way to a position where you might get targeted and destroyed within moments. I think that a healthy mix of archers, infantry, and cavalry are necessary. However, the cavalry are more predominant because of the march speed capabilities and your ability to come back very quickly into the fight. I see a lot of Edwards. I see some Isong-Yes. I did get to see a Ramses on the field. Seeing those archers in play is very interesting because they are very easy to kill. But at the same time, if you manage to stay hidden well inside that cluster of madness, those archers are gonna pay dividends, especially if you have a couple of I see not Ethelfleds, I see Tamaris or two, a bunch of stacks, poison stacks all over the place. You poison stack the right march and let your alliance mates AoE, and that march is gonzo before it even knew what hit it.
Yeah, here we see playing out exactly my concern earlier that because this thing has moved so far toward Hong Kong Legends, it's just prohibitively difficult for BBTH to get into the mix, and they have to march so far through a gauntlet of red players in order to even try to take down the Ark. I think this thing is not captured yet, obviously, but all but captured. It would be very, very hard for Blue to get it from this position. And I do think it's interesting that Red are making their way back to an outpost again. I mean, I don't know. I'd change up the plan after I saw how that went, Gecko. That was the closest I've ever seen without it actually getting captured by the opposing side. That little move at the outpost, BBTH almost scored that thing.
Yes, sir. The only one that I would have said that was just as close was Dragothian's play in his match, which he did by himself, which was really, really hard and quite impossible. And so, quite frankly, look at the map really quickly. The map is fairly red. Even outposts are red at this point. The obelisks are blinking, 4 altars in favor of the folks in red. And you mentioned this in the intro. If you hold on to the 4 major buildings, the 2 sky altars and 2 desert altars, you don't need to care about anything else. Those are 600 points per minute out of 1,180 points total available every single minute. If you hold on to those buildings, you're pretty much set to win. It's impossible to defeat you. Talking about points per minute, 740 points per minute in favor of red versus the 200 for blue. That means that even if, by some miracle, this arc gets the march bug and all of a sudden blue team marches straight home, within less than 7 minutes, that arc is worth nothing. The folks in red are gaining so many points. They're about over almost 5,000 points in the lead, and their lead is just going to grow and grow. One thing to point out is 2 teleports available for blue and 3 for red. 29th minute, not necessarily everybody had ported in already, and if so, I guess that's the thing. But if the blue team doesn't actually start to get aggressive and start getting points per minute, 29 minutes, it's starting to be very difficult to come back out of this. One last thing, big shout out to our friend Echo Gaming in the chat, another content creator from the Rise of Kingdoms community. Chiskel, what do you think is the next play here for the blue team?
Well, you got to win one or the other, structures or arcs, and now BBTH finds themselves in the position where they have to win both. They need to get the altars, the highest point buildings, out of the hands of red in order to win from this position, and they probably have to get the next arc too. So they're going to be looking to make high risk, low probability of success plays, because that might be their only way to make it back into the game and into the finals. I mean, this is why it's called a Hail Mary, right? That's what you got to do, is go for something that is just super unlikely to be successful, but if it is, would be just hugely impactful to whether or not you win or lose this match. So I think knowing that information, Hong Kong Legends has to go big on their defense at this point. They go big on defense, and they don't even need to score the next arc. They just need to stop BBTH from scoring it. Because if they can hold their buildings, if they can hold the arc from being captured, they win. They don't have to be aggressive, but here's the thing. Watching the way this has played out so far, I can tell you Hong Kong Legends is not going to stop the aggression. They are going to keep rallying, and I see 4 buildings blinking for blue, 4 of them being attacked by Hong Kong Legends, and only 1 building blinking for red. Only 1 building being attacked by BBTH, and that rally is about to fail.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. As we mentioned more than once, right? The best defense is a good offense, and HKL are proving that just now. They got the middle, they got the arcs, they got everything going on. They keep attacking, man. All the altars are blinking. Every single building that's blue is about to go down once more potentially. We're having a little bit of loadout issues as servers go crazy towards the very end, and we're just excited to watch this arc. The arc is gonna move. This Hail Mary of theirs is not the best play that I would make personally. I think that if BBTH really want to win this and try to potentially get in this, I want to see rallies on every single red building. And I'm not seeing any rallies whatsoever. So maybe I disconnected from the match for that. We have a backup camera. Let's bring that up really quickly so we can get right back into the action. With that being said, man, blue team really need to start stepping up their action or else trouble will ensue.
Yeah, I see now the folks in Hong Kong Legends and Red are swarming down the BBTH Shrine of War, which is the same thing they did for the first of Osiris in order to position themselves to then move into the Temple of Osiris area and dominate that space. That is what they're going for again, and we do see BBTH a bit better prepared this time, sending more marches to defend the Shrine of War. Will it be too little too late? It's hard to say. They're going to have to hold on for dear life, and I'll call attention to the fact that normally you might want to have a commander like Richard I defending a structure because he does so much healing. He does so much damage taken reduction. However, there are so many marches here and so many marches that do healing effect reduction that a commander like Richard I is really profoundly hindered in their effectiveness. I wonder what they're using to defend this thing, and I can't even see because it is just a mess of marches as it does flip hands to red. Wow. I mean, blue finds themselves in a world of hurt here as that Shrine of War flips over. To your point, that's 20% differential of stats, which is savage, attack, and defense. Absolutely crucial. Hong Kong Legends really positioning themselves well to then step into the Temple of Osiris area in less than 4 minutes and 15 seconds. That will spawn in, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
And one thing to point out is that I don't know if you noticed this, but the Desert Altar is about to go down again. BBTH about to lose their own Desert Altar once more. HKL doing the same exact play over and over. We're going to go in, we're going to go forward, we're going to clean up the map, make it red, get blue to have to pick between the arc and the buildings. Once they go play with the buildings, we go play with the arc. They've been doing this all match long. And BBTH, finally a little bit of reactions. We see the red Shrine of Life blinking, we see the red Desert Altar blinking. By the way, for the first time in this match, but better late than never, I guess. But that being said, the points per minute game went back into 560 versus 540. So they did manage to slow down the bleeding. There's about 9,000 points between these two teams, which means a 4,000 point arc, which is the one coming up next, puts them about 5,000 points difference between the two. 5,000 points is a little bit of a stretch, but at that point, you do start asking yourself who is caravanning a little bit more, a little bit less. There's still plenty of time to come back out of 10,000 points, but that will require an arc and an arc only, and it'll require that the folks in blue start making a point per minute lead, and they're just not able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the theme of this matchup for me is actually, Gecko, if you can believe it, controlling the field. Because what I saw happen time and time again for Hong Kong Legends is they just walk their way up the field and they walk right up to the structure they want to take with all their marches and they beat the door down. And of course they can. All those marches just walked right up there. They're full health, completely unhindered with a rally. They beat it down. I think the big thing here is that you can't let the enemy waltz on up to your front door with all their marches uncontested at all. At all. So I think battling in the field and having some amount of presence there to prevent that swarm of marches from actually getting to the building, because Gecko, if they get to the building, it's too late. Even if it's captured for just a second before it's snapped back, right? That's point disruption that is massive and honestly a huge success. And Hong Kong Legends now doing exactly what we had expected, even abandoning a combat on a Desert Altar, not entirely, but partially, in order to bring their marches from the blue side of the battlefield into the center. They're coming to the arc from their own side and from the enemy's side. And that means they're all fighting on the enemy's side now, which means somebody has a free reign to pick up the arc from red and march it unharassed.
So for me, the theme of this match is the good old art of war. The best defense is a good offense. If you are defending your own buildings by not attacking, you're allowing what you said to happen. You're allowing the other team to aggress. The problem is that BBTH never, ever put pressure on the red side of the map. All the pressure was always on their side of the map. They are not only allowing the marches to waltz into their front door and not even kick it open. They don't even need to kick it. They just blow on it and the door opens because, truthfully, there is nothing there. BBTH are only reacting to the attacks of HKL. They're not pushing forward. They're not trying to stop these marches. These marches have free reign to do whatever the heck they want. They don't need to worry about their Shrine of War. Listen, that Sky Altar was taken by Red Team and it never blinked. Ever. That top Sky Altar has been there. I wonder if someone can send a scout. I doubt there's any troops in there. Like, nobody's even tried to attack it or bothered. And so, of course, they can waltz into their front door because they have nothing stopping them before your front door. There's nothing stopping them from marching forward. And of course, they're coming from every direction. Where is the blue team?
Gecko, I don't know. What I do know is that if they don't get this arc, they are going to be completely unable to make their way back into this matchup. They've got to get the arc. They're down in the structure game, 300 points per minute for blue to 560 for red. This is getting to be a point where it's going to be really tough to make their way back in, and even some Hail Mary plays may not be enough at this point. However, Ken grabbing the arc for BBTH. He needs to get moving, or she, real fast to bring that back to their side of the battlefield. Swift Stride being used, perfect choice in order to give them some march speed, and they are starting to make their way back toward one of their own structures. Solid plan, and carrier is down.
But that's okay. They gained a little bit of ground.
It's better than the alternative, and it is not as much ground as I would have hoped they would gain, especially with that Swift Stride being cast, and now X-Billy grabbing the arc for red and starting to bring it back to their side of the map. That is the thing that cannot happen for BBTH as it starts to make its way crawling over there, and now even breaking out of that big mass toward the red side of the map. Teardown being cast to try to take down a building that belongs to red. So it looks like BBTH is starting to go on that offensive plan. However, if this arc gets away, it's all moot. They need to get this arc now. X-Billy losing control of the arc. It's now once again available for capture, this time more on the side of Hong Kong Legends. So we're going back and forth.
Look at the play by BBTH. Shrine of War about to go down for HKL. They tried to use a skill to slow this down, but an Archer rally and an Archer solo march in here really doing damage to the Shrine of War. This is the play BBTH need. If they take this Shrine of War, that's disruption of those buffs right here. And that's everything they need for the middle right now to try to get back into this. They have some field presence coming in, but Chiskel, that Shrine of War, trouble.
That Shrine of War is in trouble. We've got trouble in paradise here. And, man, Ramsey's at the helm of that rally. I have to think it's expertise, cutting the healing by 100% for 2 seconds every time his active skill is used. Game-changing debuff. If there's a Richard I trying to defend that structure, which it looks like there might not be, it's an E-Song. Well, I guess the healing disruption's not going to matter.
But matter or not, you know what does matter? This building is about to go down. I cannot. And a skill was spent to try to defend this building. 20% stats in the favor of blue team. They need to get their butts back into the center right now. They are coming in hot. Look at those marches coming in with an extra stat on their side. All they need right now is to get that arc. 16 minutes remaining. There's still plenty of time to get back into this. The Alliance skill that the folks in red casted is finally over. So no more 80% plus damage. BBTH still have a slight shot at this, but they need to stop this arc from moving, which is currently being carried by an Ethelflaed. Okay.
Yeah, the problem that I see here is that there is a massive murder ball for the folks in red. If a BBTH march wants to walk past to try to get the carrier, they are going to get hit by 20 marches on their way in, and they're taking skill damage and dealing none back. So that is looking really problematic as the carrier starts to break 3. It is Ethelflaed, Legend Kobe, Legend Kobe taking that arc with the most unlikely of carriers. Ethelfled, free to play legendary, marching down the field and completely uncontested to score this thing. Oh boy.
Oh man, I mean, honestly, this thing is very, very bad for BBTH. They have a few marches that were in the Shrine of War, and they're trying to hold on to the Shrine of War. I feel like that's a small misplay. They had 3 marches available in the Shrine of War that could have walked out and tried to backstab this arc carrier. That could have been their only hope to slow down this arc carrier at this stage, because as you mentioned, the Murder Ball wasn't going to let that happen. Legend Kobe making his way 44 seconds away from honestly securing the match for his team. The points per minute game is about even, 40 to 40, 5 teleports to 6 teleports available. There are 30 against 30, although we do need to mention BBTH started with 29 early on. I don't think that'll make that big of a difference, even though they did miss 5 marches for the beginning of the match. So maybe that disrupted them a little bit, or even the fact that someone's missing was the reason why they're not as well coordinated. Some of these things that can happen right before a match can really throw you off mentally, and then it's really tough to get back into the match, especially if you're coming into the match stressed. With that being said, I feel like the name of the game in here is BBTH just did not feel like attacking at all.
Yeah, I don't know that defense is the best strategy in Ark of Osiris because it gives your opponent free reign to abandon their own defense and use those marches in more offensive positions. I think theoretically a defensive strategy could work where you play a good defense and go for the arcs and take advantage of the fact that you have to walk less than the opponent, but that has not played out that way here. The arc being captured for Hong Kong Legends is the nail in the coffin. 15,000 point differential is going to be prohibitively difficult for BBTH to make back in such a short time. 13 minutes remaining in this matchup.
Lucky for who? Clearly not for BBTH, but hey, listen. At the end of the day, you mentioned this in the beginning. You started us off with this and you really nailed that to the ground and did it really, really well. You have to win one of 2 parts of this game, structure or arc. If you win either or, that's where caravans can come in and really be a pain in your butt. And they can swing a match. We've seen it swing a match, and we've seen caravans win matches quite a lot. But for that, you need to win either of the big point givers, which are either the building-based games, the points per minute game, or the arc. BBTH did not focus on buildings enough. We have some folks who have previously met against HKL and played against HKL mentioning that their timings are very, very good and they know what they're doing when it comes to their rotations on the map. But one of the things that I've mentioned consistently throughout this season, and I feel like this should be Season 3's goal for teams to practice for, is what do you do when your strategy goes awfully wrong? Because HKL have been in the lead this whole time. Their strategy and tactics have been always met with either success or they were able at least to apply them. Did BBTH allow this to happen? I don't think so. I think that just BBTH had something go wrong along the way and they just weren't able to recover. And I think that Season 3's biggest theme is going to be which teams are going to be able to recover from their failed strategy and have a backup plan in case things go terribly, terribly wrong like it did here.
Yeah, for gamers, it's really easy to fall into something called tilt, making fun of when pinball machines would stop working. When somebody goes on tilt, it means they're mentally not in the game, even though physically they're still playing it, because their mind is messing with their ability to actually play effectively. Who knows if it was a little bit tilting to see the outpost not get taken, the 30th player not show up, to have some of the challenges they had at the start of the match. I don't know, but I think Gecko, you're spot on that being able to adapt to what the enemy is doing after that choreographed start of the match is absolutely crucial, and you've got to have a clear head in order to make those sorts of calls and coordinate with 29 other humans to pull that off.
Definitely. And I think this also goes to the part of each player must have their own role their own unique role, and they need to understand their role and play in each specific time. One of the challenges, for the record, and I'm someone who I'm very candid about things that I do, and I'll tell you this. In one of our matches when JWM2 was starting to form, I tilted. I tilted bad. I got very, very mad at something that happened, and it didn't only tilt me off, it quite frankly tilted the whole team off. And it's one of the mistakes that I have been living with for quite some time, but I'll tell you this. The problem with tilt is that it's unrecoverable. The only way you recover out of tilt is to get out, breathe, and come back in. The problem is you can't do that here. So when you have folks who have their own individual roles assigned and they know what they need to do at all time with a basic command of let's do this time, that time, this, that, even if one player tilts and tilts off everybody else, the rest of the folks still know what they need to do. So even though they might be really, really, really mad or really tilted off, the fact that they still know their place and they know their role and they know their timings because they practiced their own role consistently, that's how you overcome tilt. Like sports, every single position player practices their position, their moves, their left foot, right foot, their arm, their throw, their pitch, their swing, their catch, their run, whatever you play, or even, I don't know, their dive. It really requires you to be specialized to your role and understand it, and that's how you break out of tilt, essentially.
Yeah, the mental game is super real, and now we do see that BBTH has the structure game. 2 minutes and 56 seconds until the arc spawns in. They're not winning the structure game by enough to be meaningful, and even if they got this arc, it's not going to be enough points to be a difference maker, as we still see Hong Kong Legends leading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different structure rallies at a time.
Whew, that Ethel Flood went out the window. Whew. Sorry, we were watching the Sky Altar and defended by an Ethel Flood against an Attila Takeda. Some folks have been very successful defending Attila Takeda with an Ethel Flood, but it doesn't necessarily mean she is 100% good, right? A lot of the misconceptions, and Chiskel, apologize if I cut you there, but there's one thing I need to point out, folks. When you get a report out there that says, this commander stopped that commander, nowadays Rise of Kingdoms is such a diverse and big game that is not enough. You don't know what the talent trees look like. You don't know what the commander equipments were on both sides or what the talent trees were on both sides. You don't know the expertise level of both sides. So seeing that somewhere within the world at the top tier, someone optimized Artemisia, not Ethelflaed, apologies, on Artemisia to hold up against Attila Takeda, that doesn't mean all of them can, and that doesn't mean your setup can either.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in Rise of Kingdoms, and that's what makes it such an enjoyable game. There is a tremendous amount of strategic depth and opportunity for optimization, and quite frankly, a real lack of opportunities to test without consequences. Now, you can, thankfully, now gem up a practice match in Ark of Osiris. You can play with your friends and test out different things to see what works best. But even that is a remarkably time-consuming process. So the teams that put in the reps will have edge if they've spent that time really optimizing, playing devil's advocate to see what works and what doesn't. Because to your point, you could look at a report and see one side wins, but you don't know the talents. You don't know if rallies were reinforced or structures were reinforced, and so on.
Yes, sir. And one of the things that I feel like I had this conversation yesterday on stream with the community is that at this point, I'm very envious of new Rise of Kingdoms players. They have such a diverse game when it comes to commanders. They have such a diverse game when it comes to equipment very early on. They can start working on their equipment from the beginning, as that is now something in the game. As this game progresses, it's getting to a point where a generic answer cannot be given to a specific question. For the longest time, you, myself, Dragothian, Legend Ronnie, Shinchi42, Echo Gaming, and many other Ryan and many other content creators out there for Rise of Kingdoms have been answering generic questions, specific questions with a generic answer. But as time goes by, we're going to have to start analyzing situations and analyzing gameplay in depth, because what is the best commander to defend is not an answer we can give anymore.
Yeah, it's much harder. It depends a lot on all the other context, right? Like you might really like Richard the First, but if you know your opponent is going to use a bunch of stuff that reduces healing, like good luck with that. That's not going to go quite as well. So the age of the kingdom, the availability of commanders, I mean, to your point, there's just a lot of variables now, and that's what makes it fun.
Definitely. I agree with that. Chat, if you're enjoying the cast, make sure you're dropping a like on it. And of course, come say hi to myself and Chisco Gaming on our respective channels. They're linked in the description down below. And Chisco, first of all, it's always a pleasure to cast with you. This is our first one for the season, hopefully many to come. The next match will be you and Dragothian, as I will be playing the JWM2 match. And I believe you guys are casting OV against C9N. With about 4 minutes remaining in this match, almost 20,000 points difference for HKL. I guess it is time to ask the chat for one last favor. Let's get those GGs up in the chat for both teams. Well, you're going to remain with us for a little bit longer, another 4 minutes, but let's get those GG spams up in the chat. Congratulations to HKL for securing a position in the Osiris Invitational, the inaugural Osiris Invitational. Chiskel, who do you think is going to come up next?
Wow. I mean,
That's a
it's
loaded
hard to
question.
say. Yeah, it's hard to say what's about to happen next in the coming matches. There's going to be 3 going on at the next time slot, 1500 UTC. You're going to want to visit this channel, come on back in less than an hour to see what happens in the next matchup. We're going to be casting with none other than Dragothian. So you're going to get a different perspective as well on this next set of matchups. It is going to be the matchup that you voted to see, which will be really exciting. And Gecko, do you think there's going to be more votes in the future potentially? Or at this point, gosh, there's just not that many teams left, not a lot of choices for what to watch.
Quite frankly, as we are on the official Rise of Kingdoms channel, I would rather not voice too much of an opinion about that subject, but I'll tell you this. I feel like to an extent there has to be a change when it comes to scheduling of playoffs. I am a very, I'm not a big fan, and that's saying it very lightly, of the fact that there are 3 out of 4 matches happening on the same time slot. I respect the idea of teams choosing which times are better for them, and obviously these are the times that fit better for everybody. However, we all want to watch these matches, man. I'm going to have my phone playing the game, one monitor with you guys casting, and the other monitor with the third match cast happening. And you guys know I come by the chat every now and then while the match is happening. Don't tell the JWM2 guys that. But, I mean, I want to watch it all. It's really problematic.
Must watch all matches.
And the same goes for the other realm, by the way. They need to be in a different time, man. We gotta watch them too. I feel really bad we're not casting those guys. They deserve the platform as well. And hopefully this is something Season 3 will bring up. As you know, this is something new in Rise of Kingdoms, only Season 2.
Yeah, this is incredibly exciting. This is an exciting time, in my opinion, to be playing Rise of Kingdoms. There's a huge amount of diversity. There is a huge amount of choices to make and optimizations. And there's so much going on that people need to specialize. And by specializing, you have an opportunity to really shine. Rise of Kingdoms is a very exciting and dynamic game that I'm really enjoying playing. And these teams and the amount of complexity that goes into the planning for these matchups is a testament to that and also to their own skill. So congratulations again to BBTH for making it to the top 8. That's extremely impressive. And congratulations to Hong Kong Legends securing their spot in the top 4. And you know, Gecko, we'll get a little bit of an answer to that question you were just posing of, you know, gosh, the teams in the other realm are awfully competitive. Wish we could watch them at the same time. It'll be really fun to watch them in that invitational you were describing, battle head-to-head, realm versus realm, to see which ones really got the stronger team.
I definitely agree. I'm really looking forward for that. And quite frankly, I really would like to first of all say congrats to BBTH, and I know they are disappointed with a little bit of what happened in here. They are a strong team. They didn't have their best match, but remember, in a best of 1 situation, all you got to do is have a bad day, bad connection, something along the way, and things can go really bad really quickly. So I believe we're going to see BBTH one more come up next season, even bigger and stronger. We started with what? 1,024 teams in the beginning, or was it 512? And they made it up to the top 8. How crazy is that?
Yeah,
That's a long way
extremely
to go.
impressive. Extremely impressive performance by everyone. And honestly, managing a team of 45 people, 30 mains and 15 subs, it's not an easy task to get everybody rowing in the same direction.
Oh, hell no. That's the one thing I really appreciate every single Osiris League team or ARC team leader in general for coming up with the strategy, talking to everybody, make sure everybody shows up. It's kind of like half babysitting, half strategizing, half everything. It's crazy. It really is. With a victory sign on the screen, Chisco, what stats do we see here that are that are really catching your eyes?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously the full set of arc captures for Hong Kong Legends is a big deal. If you swing those in the other direction, right? If BBTH had captured all those and Hong Kong Legends had not captured any, it would be the other way around, right? So any of those arcs in the favor of BBTH would have been a big deal, huge point swing. The occupation score also going in favor of Hong Kong Legends, which is a big deal. And wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was waiting till you get there.
So as we look down the list, the provisions are the same, but the kills, wow. I mean, Hong Kong Legends was literally killing BBTH on the field 2-1. Almost 2-1. That is savage. That is astonishing. I don't know if that's commander quality. I don't know if that's those buffs that we were talking about with the effective 40% swing, 20% of stats in favor of Hong Kong Legends instead of being in BBTH. But wow.
This
killing was
go ahead,
so brutal that BBTH had to heal a lot.
That's what captured my eye, my man. I mean, 2-1 kills. That's like what, a almost 20-1 heal to heal ratio? What is going on? HKL, I feel like they healed just because someone kind of like said, all right, I want to send a few full marches, even though technically they probably really didn't need to. 9 million kills on BBTH's side. Lordy, oh lordy, that's a lot of speed ups out the window. But if you take a peek, occupation numbers were fairly the same. Teleports, one of them was used more by HKL. That could have probably given them a slight lead. 5 marches getting a little bit closer. Or someone swapping between top and bottom. That could be a thing too. What can be said, man? It was as one-sided as the score says. It was the name of the game, just like you said. It shows up in the total kills. The best defense, my man, is a good offense. And the stats don't lie. HKL had an insane offense.
That is insane. No wonder BBTH was struggling. And in fairness, it could be that the way they got those kills, not only did they have the stats, but the positioning. If you always outnumber your opponent in the battlefield, wherever you are, because you're in all the right places at the right time, you don't have to defend your own structures, you will slay your opponents. Because at some point, it snowballs, right? Like when BBTH has to suicide in 2 or 3 marches at a time to the 20 marches of Hong Kong Legends just to slow down the flag. Yeah, I mean, you see kills like that.
Yes, sir. Well, Chisco, I appreciate you very much for casting today with me. Let's get out for a little outro for the folks here. Just go take a peek really quickly at the other realm as well. It looks like 1v went down to NBA1, 31,000 to 40,000 points in that realm as well, with 3 matches coming up at 3 p.m. UTC. Chisco, thank you very much, my man. I really enjoyed the cast, and hopefully we'll get to cast another one very soon.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. This was a ton of fun. Looking forward to doing this again.
Cheers, man. You have a good one. All right, chat. With that being said, we are concluding our cast for now for Osiris League Season 2. As you can see, 1v defeat went down to NBA1, and the match we watched, HKL against BBTH, ended like that. We appreciate you guys very much chilling with us today, enjoying the cast. Make sure you drop likes on the video before you leave and subscribe to the Rise of Kingdoms channel as well as to our channels down in the description down below. We'll see you guys in about an hour, give or take. Well, I will not, but Dragothian will be here with Chiskel Gaming for round 2. Chat, you've been awesome. Appreciate every single one of you. We'll see you next time. Take care and have a good one. Peace.